whatever time it is, wherever you're watching now, if you're not watching this live. It is back bends week here at Raw Yoga. So today's class is going to have a little bit of focus on extending through the back, creating a little bit of space in the back, and just generally focusing on a little bit of back health, I suppose you could say. And we'll start on our backs. So make sure you have a couple of blocks and a strap and a blanket. If you don't have these props at home, you can pretty much make do just with something that you could rest yourself on. So maybe a big sturdy book or anything that kind of resembles this shape. You'll probably get away with just one, but if you have two, it's going to be helpful as well. If you don't have a blanket, of course you can use a towel, and if you don't have a strap, you can use a belt or even a towel for some of the situations we use this for as well. So we're going to start in a reclined position on our backs. So soles of the feet together, knees out wide, finding this Baddha Konasana shape to start with. Palms of the hands facing up. We're going to press the soles of the feet together. And just bring your awareness and your attention to your breath. Finding some gentle deepening of breath in and out through the nose if that's available today. And if you're watching live or recently, it is the middle of winter, so any sniffles and snuffles tends to block up the nose a little bit, so feel free to breathe in and out the mouth. But you may notice over the course of the practice things clear up, so keep your attention there and maybe the nose clears up. And we'll just start to add some subtle movement here. So we're going to be pressing the soles of the feet together, like you're creating this closed chain of energy. And then start to close the knees towards each other and open them out. Now moving with your breath, take which pattern serves. I like to exhale to bring them closed, inhale to bring them open. Let's take 3 more. Really pressing those feet together and only going as high as you can still keep the feet connected. Nice. From there, draw the knees in towards the chest without pulling them in. Just find a little bit of movement through the hips. And then place the feet down and just a little bit of a stop. Just to get the energy flowing through the feet. Waking the feet up, getting a nice little bit of grounding. Feel free to add the arms as well if you get a little tantrum. And then just pause, feel the energy flow through the feet. You might like to extend the legs. And then come into this constructed rest position or the setup for our bridge pose. Setting up so your feet are more or less hip distance and the toes are turned in just slightly. I'm going to start by sending energy down through the heels and just looking for this tip through the pelvis. So like you're rocking the pelvis back and forward, and you should feel the low back space lift as you tip the pelvis forward and the low back press into the mat as you tip the pelvis back. I'm just rocking back and forward. You can slow it right down so you're moving with your breath. Again, just putting some fluidity in through the hips. Nice, and on the next one of your tilts, pressing the low back into the mat, start to press down through the heels and start to lift the hips. And we'll start moving with the breath. It might be an inhale or an exhale up, whatever serves. And then reverse the breath as you come back down. Now you don't have to go all the way to the top to your maximum. Just note where your back is at. Just take it easy today. We'll take it easy for these first three. And then feel free to start extending just a little bit. Feel the squeeze of the inner thighs, the stabilization. So the knees stay stable. The hips stay stable. And the movement is just up and down. If you notice a little wiggle wobble, side to side, or a little bit of swaying, or if there's a tendency to push out to one side as you lift, just see what you can do to stabilize that. More energy squeezing the inner thighs together, while at the same time the energy of pulling the knees apart, keeping everything stable. Nice, let that movement go. Take a moment, low back presses into the mat, feel everything ground, sink and settle. And then take your right foot, place it on your left knee. We'll find a number 4 stretch here. So starting to press this right knee away as you pull the left knee in towards the chest. Flex both feet. Avoid using the hands just for a moment. See how active you can create the stretch without the use of any passive force. So draw low belly in. Try and keep the low back pressing into the mat for now. And see if you can create this energy of pressing this right knee away while pulling the left knee in. And once you've found the position that you can hold, add the hands, which might be the back of the thigh or it might be the front of the shin. And see if you can find just a little more. So don't add a huge amount of force. You pull yourself in towards loaded flexion, which is somewhat unnecessary, particularly early in the morning if you are practicing now. So now I mean live with me. It's always going to be now when you hear the word now, I suppose. Really pressing that right knee away, brings in a little bit more juice into that right hip. And now you've found this new position with the aid of the hands. See if you can use the energy you've created and hold it there actively. It might bring that feeling like you're about to cramp in. That's a good place to be. Just really starting to explore new territory, the activity, building strength, building the flexibility and the mobility. Nice. Relax that. Take this right knee, slide it all the way across so you've got crossed legs, and then we'll take it into a twist from here. So your left hand, come on top of the knees, and just ease your way over to the left. Keep the right shoulder grounded into the mat, which might mean you don't go as far as you might normally in a twist. And extend that right arm open. You can gaze over the right shoulder. Another full round of breath. Feeling that breath come right into the back body. And then on the next inhale, actively use those abdominal muscles. Slow it right down as you bring yourself back through center. Release the cross of the legs. Plant the heels down. Just one roundabout lift. So inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower down. If you were wobbly before, maybe you notice a little bit more stability. And then we'll take it to the other side for our number 4 stretch. So that left foot comes onto the right knee. Flex both feet. And then draw it in. Again, finding that position you can come to actively. So I'm not using my hands, I'm using the lower abdominals. I'm using my hips, particularly my glutes. And then pressing away with this left knee, pulling in, flexing the feet. Really press that lower back into the mat, feeling your low belly on, and then adding, it might be the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. And sinking back into the rhythm of your breath. Two more breaths here. We'll take it into that active variation. So coming into the new place you've created, and then holding as much as you can. Feel that quiver, maybe that almost cramp feeling come in. And then release that. Slide the knee across, finding your twist. Right hand draws the left knee across the body. Left shoulder stays on the mat. Gaze can be over to the left. One more breath. Feel that big inhale come right into the back body. And then exhale, draw yourself back through seated release. One more, lift and lower with the hips. And then draw the knees into the chest, soft grip behind the knees. Little rock. And bring yourself up. You might like to cross the legs or sweep them out to the side. Either way, we're coming up to a tabletop position. And then setting up for your tabletop. Your wrists are directly under the shoulders, knees under the hips. So just find just a little bit of movement, settle yourself in. Just close down the eyes for a moment. And then start to explore movements. So cat-cow, dropping the belly. Finding the extension through the spine. Lifting into your cow pose, shoulders away from the ears, nice long neck. Still a little bit of tone through that low belly, so don't just drop and dump. We want to feel the activation. And then start to press round through the upper back, finding that spinal flexion. Keep drawing that lower belly up and in towards the spine. And the broadening across the shoulders, the real grounding down through index and thumb. Keep that grounding down through the hands, that Hatha bandha, and then start to flow. Find the movement. Find the fluidity. Next time you come through tabletop position, pause. And then start to turn the gaze over the left shoulder as you draw the left hip in towards you. And then take it to the other side. Finding the subtle lateral flexion. And then start to play with adding that lateral flexion into your cat-cow. So round and down. Twist. Drop the belly, arch. Twist. And then put it all together in any kind of freedom of movement that feels good. Make sure you go back the other way if it feels like you've been taking the same direction. Might feel like a figure eight or somewhat of a spiral. Hopefully feels like nice lubrication for the spine. And then shuffle your feet somewhere towards the back of the mat. Shuffle the hands forward and we'll find Anahata. So keep the hips stacked over the knees, keep some tone to the low belly, and bring the forehead to the mat. Now if it feels like too deep, take the forehead all the way to the mat. You can always use a block. Keep that tone in the low belly. Keep the integrity in the arms. Nice long extended arms. Spread fingers. You can take the hands wider than the shoulders if you wish. And if there's more space and you'd like to go a bit deeper, you might lift the gaze and rest your chin on the mat. Slowly make your way up from there. Sink back, child's pose. I like child's pose with the knees in together when I'm working on back extension because it's just a little bit more support. Inhale, rise up from your child's pose. Come to this high kneeling position and tuck the toes underneath. Toe squat. Beautiful. Set yourself up. And then we'll bring the hands in front. And then just find this opening and arch, lifting the chest, lifting the sternum. Exhale and round. Draw the elbows towards each other, round through the upper back. Inhale, open up. That's broadening through the chest. Exhale, curl and round. Inhale, open up. Exhale, curl and round. Two more. Inhale, open up. Exhale, slow this one down. Extend the elbows as far away from as you can. Feel the broadening across the shoulders. Keep extending the elbows. Draw that low belly back. Nice. And then inhale, nice and slow. Feel it all open up. Feel the broadening across the chest. Extend up. Low belly drawing in. Exhale, curl it in. Nice and slow. Feel the extension. Elbows away. Active arms. Last big opening. Inhale. And then exhale. Bring the hands all the way down. Slide yourself back and find Sphinx pose. So the elbows are lined up nicely under the shoulders. So you've got this nice straight line here. And we're looking for a lift through the chin and a length through the back. Almost this feeling of drawing yourself forward, this almost pulling sensation with the hands. The extension up through the crown of the head. Little bit of tone to the glutes and some energy pressing down through the feet. Nice full breath here. One more. Press that energy down, lift and extend through the crown. And then take the elbows wide, lower down. And then we'll find baby cobra, a little bit more active. Inhale, lift to this point where you can keep things active and hover the hands. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This time, inhale, lift. Place the hands down. Draw those elbows in. Feel the shoulder blades draw down the back, and maybe float the feet for our supported Shalavasana. Depending on your hips, Might be active to draw the toes together to touch. If that's challenging, just send the energy of drawing the feet together. Keep the extension through the spine so that neck stays nice and long. And then release. Press into the knees. Draw yourself up through tabletop and back into that child's pose with the knees together. One more breath here in your child's pose. And then come to your tabletop position again. Just one little rinse out through your cat-cow. A couple of rounds. Nice, and then tuck the toes. Lift yourself up, find downward facing dog. And then any kind of pedaling out through the feet. And then settling in towards stillness in your down dog. Feel the activation, the wrapping of the triceps down. The pressing of the chest back, and that might mean there's a bend in the knees, particularly if the hamstrings are tight today. One more breath here. Gazing towards the top of the mat, start to slowly walk. Standing forward fold, feet hip distance, nice bend to the knees. Sink over the legs. Hands find opposite elbows. And then start to feel the energy pressing down through the ball of the big toe, the ball of the little toe, the center of the heel. And then start to tip the sit bones up towards the ceiling. Draw the low belly in, and maybe you can release a little bit more of the body weight down without any force. Maybe a gentle rock side to side. Maybe back and forth. Maybe you just move the head and the neck to release out. And then to bring just a little bit more attention to our superficial back line and to the neck. Interlace the hands and just rest them. Rest them on the head. Gentle energy drawing in. That whole back chain of the body might feel it. You might feel it in the calves. You might feel it through the neck, the upper back, the mid back. Just don't force anything, just feel the length. Release the hands a little bit to the knees, slowly curl up, stacking the vertebrae one at a time. Pick up the shoulders, roll them down the back. Beautiful. From here, hands come to the hips. And just notice where the knees are, a little jiggle of the knees to release to make sure they're not locked. And then pick up the shoulders, roll them down the back. Take the thumbs, press them into the low back. And then if there's space, you might turn the fingertips up and use the heels of the hands, or you might just keep it with the thumbs. And start to press the hips forward, engage the glutes, feel that lift through here. And feel this lift through the sternum up towards the ceiling, pressing forward. And find this opening across the chest, the elbows start to draw towards each other, and you press. Maybe the gaze goes back. Lifting up with an active low belly. Take a moment, Tadasana. Active through the fingers. Pick up all 10 toes, place them back down to the mat. Draw a low belly in, feel the lift through the crown of the head. And then interlace your fingers, place them on top of the head, and just give your head a little bit of feedback. So something to press up into. While you press down through the feet, you're pressing up into the hands with the crown of the head. Nice, take the arms wide, release, interlace the hands at the low back, open out through the chest. Little bend to the knees, keep them soft, draw low belly in, start to tilt from the pelvis, and coming all the way down. If this starts to feel too intense in the shoulders, just bend at the elbows, bring the hands to the low back. It feels really good, really nice in your body. Sending a little bit more extension. And then use a little bend to the knees. Ground down through those 3 points in each foot. Start to lift back up. Release the arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Interlace the fingers, and we'll take a side body stretch over to the right. Inhale through center. Side body stretch to the left. Really pressing down through that right foot. And back through center. Hands come through heart center as you take your forward fold, bending at the knees, folding over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, nice, flat back. Knees bend, hands plant, step the right foot back and drop the right knee to the mat. Inhale, rise up, low lunge. Grounding down through the feet. Feel this activation of the inner thighs, like you're squeezing, drawing in, at the same time pressing down and out. Getting everything to turn on through that low belly, through that low body, I should say. And then the low belly engages to find that little bit of extra lift. Feel the glutes fire up, the inner thighs squeeze. The calves turn on. Exhale and fold. Step back, downward facing dog. Ripple forward, high plank. Knees down, lower forward and down to your belly. Untuck the toes. Cobra here, but make sure there's space. So if you're here and you're tight, it's just not worth it. Yeah, the shoulders are all tucked up. It's just unnecessary tension. So create the space first. Bring the hands a little further forward. And your cobra might look like this today. Perfectly fine. Make sure you feel like there's space to find extension through the spine. You think of it more as a back extension than a back bend. The energy of creating space is there. Elbows wide, slowly lower. Tuck the toes, press into the knees. Lift through tabletop and up to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg high. Gaze forward and step the right foot through. Between the hands, drop the back knee to the mat. Inhale, rise up. And then from here, both hands find the inside line of this front right foot. And then you toe heel that foot a little bit wider. We find our lizard lunge. You might like to either roll up your mat, or if you're like me, you've already got a blanket, to pad that back knee just for a little bit of extra support. So we'll be here for a couple of minutes in total. We're starting with a minute in this lunge position. If there's more space, you might sink a little deeper. You might come down onto forearms. You might use the block or blocks to come down a little lower, but without any intensity on the wrists. Okay, so this might not be much lower than here. It just takes the pressure off the wrists. So you can even have them here. You're pretty much at the same height. But take what serves, take what gives you a nice stretch through this left hip flexor, a little bit of opening through the groin area here on the right. And if you like it, you can come on the blade edge here of this front right foot. All the while keeping connected to your breath. It's really sinking in. Nice. Hands plant down. Bring yourself back. Plant this foot if you took it out to the side. You might shorten the stance or the length of the lunge just a little. And then keep the left hand down, take the right arm over, bend through the knee and take hold of the foot. Now this is where you might use the strap. It takes a little bit of lasso skill to get the strap over the foot. And then you might be like so. Yeah? Or you might just use the strap like this. If you can reach the foot, beautiful. Drawing that heel in towards the bottom. And then maybe, if you want to explore it, come down onto the forearm. If you're working towards taking it deeper, this hand that's reaching back for the foot would eventually be looping underneath my leg. Now I'm not there today, but feel free to explore if you wish. It might be something that you use the strap for. And then eventually you can reach with the hand. Send the energy forward, so you're getting that nice deep juicy stretch through the quadricep. We'll take one more breath. And that's a gentle release, try and avoid the rubber band effect. Top arm reaches over. And then shuffle this foot back in. Take a moment. Tuck the back toes, lift up, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, curl it up. Reach it tall. Exhale, hands draw through. Take a moment, hands to the low back. Press the hips forward. Maybe the fingers are facing up or the thumbs are pressing in. Feel that lift through the sternum, the elbows drawing in. Pressing and lifting. Maybe you release the weight of the head. Using the inhale to come up. Nice active low belly. And then reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. And then we'll start on that left side. So stepping the left foot back, drop the left knee. Low lunge, first of all, reach up. Should feel nice and open after that deep lizard lunge on this side. One big inhale, feel everything active. Feel that lift, the space. Maybe you can extend a little bit. And then exhale. Frame the foot, step back, downward facing dog. Come forward, find your high plank. Press the mat away. And then bring those knees down. Keep pressing the mat away. Keep extending forward. As you bend through the elbows, keep pressing the mat away. Lower down nice and slow. And then once again, cobra pose. You might be able to bring it a little bit closer now. A little bit more space in the back. Cobra is quite often kind of
confused as an easy pose. There are really no easy poses, but cobras are often quite considered a beginner variation, but it is quite a deep back bend if you're in the full pose. So just be mindful, keep breathing, keep looking for that extension out through the crown. Really press down through index and thumb. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes. Press yourself back through that tabletop, back up to downward facing dog, and then lift the left leg high. Step that left foot through between the hands. Drop the back knee. And then set up for your lizard lunge. So the hands are on the inside line. Shuffle that foot out to the side. Sink down. And then once again, you might bring in the blocks to rest the forearms on. You might just come down onto the forearms. You can stay up on the wrists if that serves. Up on the hands, I should say. If that serves your wrist, that's fine. And then sink in. Look for this nice rhythm of breath. Feel free to untuck the toe, but find whatever supports that back knee. And you're looking for the stretch to come into this hip flexor as well. So if that means lengthening the stance a little, beautiful. And if you're not quite feeling it on in the hip flexor on the right here, it might just be because it's a little bit tighter today in through the groin area. See if you can find the extension forward in the pose and find the activation pressing down through this leg to turn it on. If it's really not turning on, experiment, lift it up. I'm pressing down through the top of my foot and really finding the activation by floating the knee. Just one more breath here. And then slowly come back up. Shorten your lunge just a little. You might toe heel this foot in just a little as well. And then it's my right hand stays down. So I've got a nice wide, stable base here at the front. And then I'm reaching back. If you need the strap, bring in your friend the strap. Particularly if your foot feels like it's miles away. And then starting to work into that quad stretch. And if it feels good, you can come down onto the forearm. Now it can be quite a challenging transition to drop to the forearm. So if you find that really awkward, you can actually start from the forearm and try and reach the foot, leaning over from the forearm. I just find it easier to get the foot and then come down. And I'm really getting into that juicy spot. 3 more breaths. And then again, releasing without that rubber band effect. Hand comes down. Shuffle this foot in. Take a moment, set it up, come up onto the toes and step forward. Find the forward fold. And then go all the way up, reach it tall. Exhale, hands through heart center. Beautiful. Take the feet about hip distance. Turn the toes out. Hands together, come down through your malasana squat. Just as a transition to the mat, you might bring the hands down in front or behind you. Just come down onto your bottom. Take a moment in your dandasana to check out the legs. And then take hold of one, maybe both of your blocks. If you don't have blocks, you could roll up a blanket or something just to create a little padding, a little stacking. You're going to come into a supported bridge to finish. So shuffle your bottom in, come on down. Now, if you feel like active back bends and you want to take it up into an active bridge or even Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel, you should be nice and open to achieve that. I'm going to keep it nice and slow flow and take it into supported bridge. So set yourself up, feet are hip distance, toes are turned in slightly, ground down through the feet, lift the hips, and slide the block underneath. And feel that grounding and support. Check in before you go straight to your full extreme height. Check in at the lowest height. Does it feel good? Does it feel supported and stable? Beautiful. Let's take it further. I feel nice and open, so I'm going to take 2 blocks. I prefer to have 2 blocks stacked. Give myself more surface area rather than 1 block on its tallest setting, where it's a little bit wobbly. Well, these tall blocks are pretty sturdy, but where it's a little bit more surface area just to support through the sacrum. So it should feel nice and stable. Yeah, it shouldn't feel like any pinching in the back, and it shouldn't feel like you're about to fall off the blocks. If this feels good, you want to stay here, palms face up, find your nice fluid breath. Or if you want to take it further, draw the knees in and lift the feet up towards the ceiling. We'll take our Viparita Karani or our legs up the wall pose, supported here. Waterfall. You can add the arms, that full feeling of that draining effect. Then the full reversal effect of gravity on your blood flow. The feeling of things just releasing. Releasing in a different way, how they would if you were lying down or standing up. Feel that flushing effect that it brings to the body. Now, next pose is going to be Shavasana. If you're really enjoying this, you want to stay longer, feel free. If you're at home, you don't have blocks, but you do have a wall. You feel free to take yourself to the wall and extend the legs up the wall. Maybe you take your final pose here. For us here in the studio, we're coming towards a close, so I'm going to come on down, slowly lowering. I'm taking my time. Ground the feet, take a moment, let it settle. And then lift the hips. Slide the blocks out once again. Take a moment. Once I'm grounded, let it settle. If you have any other movements you like to take for Shavasana, feel free. Otherwise, extend the legs out. Find your shape. Take up space. Particularly at home, if you're at home and you have the space, really take up all the space that you need to feel comfortable, adding any extra layers. And then take a moment to scan from the tips of the toes, through to the crown of the head, out through to the fingertips. Just feeling this sense of weight along the way as you scan through, leaving behind heaviness, allowing your body to really sink and surrender down into the floor beneath, feeling that connection between the body and floor. And if you're at home and you have more time, feel free to stay in Shavasana much longer than we do here in the studio. Otherwise, settling in a few minutes in silence.
here in the studio. Start to bring the awareness back to the physical body. Finding movement through the fingers and toes. Stretching out through the arms, through the legs. Rolling over to one side. Pause for a moment. And then slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat. We'll close the class together. And leave the hands resting on the lap or draw them in towards heart center. Just bowing the head towards the hands in honor of your practice today. Close the class together on a breath. Nice full inhale, filling everything up. And a sigh out the mouth, just let everything go. Thank you for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are. Namaste. Very much. If you want to be informed for future live classes, just subscribe to our channel and you'll be emailed when we go live. If you have a look at our website, the live classes are on our timetable, on our schedule. So there is always notifications of when the classes will be going live. Otherwise, thanks for practicing. See you again soon.